Welcome to the Lew Perspective. I'm John.
I'm Harold. And what we're going to talk about today is why life feels faster as we get older.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What an interesting topic.
Well, it is one that I've been contemplating for some time. And I think this is a great time to really just throw it out on the table and see what you think.
See what we think and just walk through it, right? I know. I don't think there's any other way to do it.
I look at it and I always wonder, and I'm sure most of you out there, have contemplated why it seems that time is flying.
Yeah.
I mean, this year seemed like this past year, 2024, just zipped by. And we've always sort of looked at it and we hear the same thing. Everyone's saying the same thing. And we kind of wonder, well, what makes this, and especially as you get older, it seems like it's flying by even faster.
Yeah, it does.
So,
every year seems to go quicker.
Yeah, for whatever reason.
Into the holiday season, it's so fast.
Exactly.
You just talk about, we just finished up the holiday season, and then by the time we know it,
it's coming back around again.
25. And in the holiday season.
And so, we hear this and everyone is experiencing this. It doesn't matter who you ask, they will say the same thing.
Yep.
It's like it's flying by. And so in that, as you get older, you really seem like it's flying. So, you talk to young people and then you talk to older people and you kind of find the same thing, which is kind of an interesting, I think this is why this is kind of an interesting topic here today. So
for sure.
There's multiple reasons why it seems that way. And this is something that I found in just looking and trying to get some feeling and some research in the sense of why that feels that way.
Yep.
And it was talking about, newer experiences is what really makes it seem like, that things are going faster in a sense because of the lack of new experiences.
Yeah. So when you're young, everything's new.
Yes. And so it seems like, well, because you are sort of new to this experience, you're not really seeing time fly as fast.
Like you have to process it.
Yes.
You have to understand it. And then, it'll probably happen again, which is, of course, why when we're older, we've been in those types of situations.
So we don't see those new experiences.
It's not new. We know how to handle it, or we know how to move forward.
And so it seems like things are being processed. And I think maybe in our brain is the neurons or whatever. They try to think scientifically, what makes that clock seem faster for you as you get older.
Yeah.
And I know that it talked also about, the days being similar to each other. Now, we saw this really more so when COVID came in because we didn't really have any interaction a lot with outsiders, people that even our, coworkers, people that you worked with every day. We were no longer having that sort of interaction with them.
The physical, face-to-face.
Exactly.
You're going into an office.
And so your day, was around home. Or wherever you were working, that's where you were. And so the day became routine. And so our brain started to feel like, okay, it was one day was the same as the day after and the next day.
Right.
And so before you realized, the whole week had come and gone. And you're like, wow, it just flew by. And so that's how our brains start to process that kind of information.
It becomes normalized in your head, and it's like,
similar. It's similar to the day before and the day that's coming up. Yeah.
So your Friday feels like a Monday, your Monday feels like a Friday, and then you're done with the week.
And the week is done. And you're like, whoa, I thought we were just in Monday. I've said that a million times to myself in that regard. So,
no, that's interesting, though, to think through that.
The processing speed of our brain, is sort of that.
Right? That makes super fast.
Yeah.
And then when it becomes routine practice, it
slows down the processing because that information is not new anymore.
Exactly. Yeah.
Sometimes it seems like it's flying by real fast. But
right.
That was some of the things that I have found too.
Yeah.
What do you find?
Perception of time moves faster as we get older. Just kind of exactly what you're talking about, where it's routine. We've all been through these situations now. We're used to it. It's not new. You go through the motions, when you're young, everything is so new. Everything is so new when you're young, right? Just thinking about my kids, 5-year-old kid. Everything is new to a 5-year-old kid, right? Kindergarten this year. He had to go to school for the whole day. First time, brand new. How do we, and then as a parent, you think, how did he take that in? How's he processing it, right? There's a part of that. But then a part of it also says, well, I went through that.
Right.
Like, it'll be an easy transition. And, and then I just kind of think back of how I was when I was young. Like, I don't remember anything in kindergarten. Maybe a few memories here and there. But it just, like, I think it's when you're in the moment, when you're younger, you're thinking, oh my God, it takes forever. And that's also that mindset of, kids want things quick for them.
Okay.
You're selfish, right?
Okay. Yeah. I mean,
Just think about it. You're
they don't
selfish.
think of it. They just think that this
is what I want.
Yeah. Well, I was, now that you said that, I was thinking that we think about when we're kids, how it seemed that Christmas used to be forever getting to.
Yeah.
It's like it was a long time away. Mm-hmm. And now as we've gotten older, it's like it was Christmas just seems like a few months ago.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I felt like this past year. It was like we just got out of Christmas and now we're back and it's October. And I tell you, between Halloween, and I always said this, once Halloween got here, as soon as Halloween was over, we were right in Christmas.
Right in the season.
Yeah, it was right there. And it was like Christmas came up so fast that we almost overshot Thanksgiving.
Yeah, exactly.
And
now when you think, again, I think we talked about this before, is when you go into the stores now, like our Costco's, they had Christmas stuff up in September?
I saw it. I saw some stuff up early in July. I did. I try not to look at it because I didn't want it to rush the rest of the year. Right. I thought we just got out of it.
But I think that's part of it too, is everything comes a lot earlier, right?
Do you think that we're rushing it, or do you think that
I think it's honestly, it comes down to money, right?
Okay, so it's
if I'm getting this stuff in earlier, people are buying it. Why would I not get it in earlier?
Okay.
And I could still probably sell more stuff towards the back half of the holiday season as well.
So we're anticipating it to go faster. Is that sort of safe?
But that also puts people in that mindset that we have now too, of things are accelerating.
Okay.
Right? Because now we're starting to see these things coming up quicker.
So you think it's
halfway through the year
affirming
now.
Affirming that.
Yeah, halfway through the year now we're starting to see, like you said you've seen Christmas stuff in July.
So do you think as humanity we want to see it fly by so fast? Or
I don't know
do you
if
think?
we want to. I think we want to. I mean, honestly, I don't want to get into all this conspiracy, but capitalism, right?
Okay.
If you can do it and people will buy it, why wouldn't you do it?
Okay. So we're kind of immersed into this.
It's this whole cycle now of you can do anything you want on your phone.
Okay.
Right? In my pocket, I can buy anything in the world. Okay. Really, right? From anywhere in the world.
From anywhere. Yeah.
So it's all about the marketing. It's all about that, and I think that helps accelerate it quicker than we were. Think about this: when we were young.
Yeah.
What did we do? How did we know that Christmas was coming? After Halloween, like you said, right?
Right.
Well, that was the only indicator as a child, right? We couldn't go online, right?
So we didn't have those things.
We didn't have those things. We didn't have the constant bombardment of marketing and commercials and the ability even to go online.
Okay.
Or get, just have the access to it. It was, hey, we're going to wait for the M&M commercial, the Coca-Cola commercials, right?
Right.
With Santa.
Right.
Or the M&M commercials with Santa, right? Those funny ones. It's like, you had to wait. And now it's at everyone's fingertips. It's at the kids' fingertips.
So
24/7.
Technology
has helped.
And that's kind of interesting because, now I'm looking at it and I asked several little kids yesterday about the speed. So I could sort of see, what their perception was of time. And it was kind of interesting because
what did they say?
These little, they were about the age of 10, almost 11.
Okay.
And they were saying that it went fast.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm thinking,
as a kid, I thought everything was slow.
I thought it was slow. Yes.
Yeah.
And they were like right at between 10 and 11, close to 11. And they shared this, insight and their perspective, and they felt like Christmas came and went so fast it almost didn't feel like Christmas, and I thought, well, that's kind of interesting because when I think about it, it seemed to me that Christmas was forever getting to me when I was that age.
Exactly.
And it's like, and now I'm looking at it for them to actually say that, you start to think, well, what is driving that? And I think it comes back to sort of what you just said.
Technology. Yeah.
And I thought, even more so thinking about that, I thought, well, maybe it's the fact that now we have news, information, everything's so fast. The moment it happens, it's there. And then our brains, especially as we're older, is, processing data that is probably a lot. We don't have time to wrap our minds around it. So it seems like one thing after the other. And before you realize it, being not that we're able to process that and absorb it, it's like the next thing it's going. And so it's like, whoa, time is just flying.
It's flying by.
Instead of us, and I started thinking about that. It used to be that, okay, before technology, before you could pull up a news flash that just came in, you didn't have that ability to do. You either had to be at home and you saw the television and it was presented then, and maybe you didn't hear it until like 2 or 3 days after the event had happened, or you saw it in the newspaper. You got a newspaper that came in. Now, I think newspapers are still around. I mean, look, I'm thinking, and I could be, but most people find their news either online, and so everything kind of switched there where they can get it the moment almost when it happens,
or it's been posted, right? Notifications.
Yes. Absolutely. So
I'm
then
instantly
you kind of
notified if I see an update from a specific website or app or whatever.
You get that information right away. So the kids are probably experiencing that, and I'm saying that because we didn't have that. At least I know I did not when I was younger. We didn't have that information available instantly.
Yeah,
exactly.
We have to wait.
And so the kids now, they have this, and they are not necessarily focused on news events, but they can see.
They're aware. It's part of their everyday life. Of, hey, ding, 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 I got another notification.
Right. Yeah. And so then I thought, well, maybe technology is helping to speed our perception of time.
Yeah.
Because the clock. Wait a minute. Now the clock's going faster?
It's the same.
It's the same, right?
Yeah.
It's not.
It's perception. It's time perception.
Exactly. So then we look at the day. And so what I found also was it was saying that in order to sort of understand this, I want to call it a phenomenon, because we're all experiencing this and everyone seems to sort of agree that time is flying.
Yeah.
Okay, so in that, I started to think, okay, what about day and night? Is the Earth turning faster, with the sun? What's that perception?
Or is it just a perception?
Right.
In the mind, yeah.
I mean, one moment you get up and it's 6:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
And before you realize it, it's already 12:30 noon. And you're like, 6 hours have come and gone. And you're like, so are we racing with time? And the faster we run, trying to squeeze so much into a space of time wise, that we find ourselves continuing to move our forward trajectory at a faster rate, trying to do so much in this time. And then I thought about where you hear, and I'm sure you probably heard this before, a place where it's time really, you're slowed down. Maybe it's middle America. It's maybe an island where it's everything is at a slower pace. I mean, what's your thought on that? Because
I think it's all about the perception of the time and where we again, technology today drives a lot.
So do you think that maybe and this is, I'm going to throw this out so you can kind of think about it, but time moves faster in, let's say, Los Angeles, New York, Chicago, Atlanta, and places of more urban, heavy populated. And then you move to places where the urban sprawl, in a sense, is way sparse, and you don't have as much. And then you say in a slower pace of life. Yeah. Okay. What do you think?
I think too, culturally, it comes down to that as well.
Okay.
When I say culture, I don't mean, different cultures. I mean, it's an American culture thing where it's the more urban you are, the faster you move.
Okay.
Right. You just think of the density in those areas, the amount of people, right, that want something or need something. And it moves fast, right? Because you have to be able to accommodate. Whereas, a smaller town, perhaps less people, less demand, slower pace, right? But then you go to like, culturally, when we talk about that, you go to an island, right? If you go to Hawaii, it feels slower pace, but really is it? I don't know if it is. I think certainly it's
maybe in
different.
the outlying areas, you think?
Yeah.
As opposed to the heavily populated.
Yeah. But even that, it's like, hey, that is definitely like their culture thing versus, coming into a larger city that has more just demand. And people want things so fast, whereas, and they're used to that too.
Well, I guess you could probably see that on the freeways. Yeah. I mean, you see cars that are flying. I mean, even this pace of traffic is moving at such a rapid pace that if you try to go to the speed limit, you're too slow. You're too slow.
I mean, what's the speed limit in LA? What, 80?
Right? I mean, well, seriously. You know what? If you go too much slower than that, if you go, you're slowing traffic down, and
but
you may cause an accident.
Day, right? Like, you're not running 65. No. Other people will be running 80, right? Yeah. We go 65, right? But it's not.
You try to say that, but you better be in the slow lane when you do.
Exactly. Because that's it. I mean, just keep to the right, please.
So we're running, and you're looking at the clock. You're watching your arm, or you're looking at your phone, and you're looking at the clock in the car, and you're like thinking, "I got to be there." And this traffic is look like I'm going to be slowed down.
Exactly. Yeah.
And so your mind is racing. And so in that, it seems that the time is flying by.
Yeah. Or it could be the opposite. So when I think of, like, an example I would think of is like, there used to be a show on the Food Network called How to Boil Water.
Okay.
That's for beginners, right? They teach easy stuff. But think about that. How to boil water. Like, it's like you watching a pot of water boil.
Okay.
If I'm watching a pot of water boil, doesn't it feel like forever to get there? If it's only 10 minutes.
Yeah.
It only takes 10 minutes for it to boil. But you sit there for 10 minutes and looking at that, right?
A pot of water to boil, yeah.
Just think about that. Like, you're going to be looking at your watch. Oh, is it time yet? All right. Oh, is it time? Oh, it takes forever. How come this is taking forever? It's 10 minutes. In the grand scheme of things, 10 minutes is nothing.
That's an excellent exercise.
Think about that. Just slow it down, right? Think of, that's how to boil water. Do I just look at something? If I'm looking at something that's taking forever, I'm slowing it down. But,
So do you think that perception is something that me as an older person to look at would be sort of a meditative process of slowing time?
Yeah, potentially meditative, but it'll also help you break up the fastness of your life because now I know water takes 10 minutes to boil. So what do I do now? Put it on the stove. Let me go do something else. Take my time. 10 minutes. Oh, okay. I'm going to come back in 10 minutes. It's boiling. Done. But if I'm standing there looking at it for 10 minutes, your life is slowing down because you're like, God, it's taking forever. It's taking forever, right? That's the perspective of that.
That's a good perspective on things, yeah.
Or like when kids, like you see this on the movies and TV, are we there yet? Are we there yet? In the back of the car and you're driving.
For them, it
takes forever, right? And for us, it's a 30-minute drive. But for them, oh my God, are we there yet?
There's a formula somewhere like Einstein formula that determines how do you capitalize on the time span that they're experiencing.
I'm sure there is.
Think about it.
But that's all. It's all in their mind. Again, it's all like I am fixated on making sure that we're stopping, getting out of the car so I can go to wherever I'm going to go. If it's like Disneyland or something, right? Something fun. Of course, kids are going to be like, are we there yet? Are we there? Are we there yet? Right?
Yeah.
But then you think of like the other destinations. Are we going to the doctor to get a shot? Right? Are we there yet? It's like, no. Right? So it's like, it's about the perception of it. But, I think when we are older, we get used to understanding those things that can take the time, right? But then we also are good at filling in the time so that it makes it go faster.
So we fill in the time with things that sort of make time run faster.
Quickly, yeah. Right? Where you don't have to just sit and think of something.
Okay.
I don't have to think of the water boiling for 10 minutes.
Okay.
Because if you think about it, 10 minutes of silence, right? How often do you get 10 minutes of silence?
Well, we don't do that very often.
Don't do that.
No.
At all.
And
People can get not even 5 minutes of silence sometimes, 2 minutes.
And
even,
so it's
right?
constantly moving in that regard. So
because time's not slowing down.
no,
It's your
it seems
perception
like
of the time.
the perception of time. So
Yeah.
one of the things too that, as a side note, sort of we said earlier that the events that we are connected to on a global scale.
Yep.
Technology sort of ties us together is sort of probably, to me, and it could be wrong, but it seems to be a component that is what sort of expediting time faster for everyone in a sense, even from the youngest minds to the oldest minds.
Yeah.
You're starting to see that. And I think when you step outside, say for example, a very elderly individual, they're not tied to their phone. They're not tied to the television and those kinds of things. And then maybe time seems to slow itself down.
Right.
I think
I think that can happen if that's the case.
So the perception kind of like goes back to what you were talking about, looking at the boiling pot, waiting for 10 minutes. And it seems like, whereas we're looking at it saying, well, you got to get over here, here, and they're no longer doing that. So is it that kind of thing where it just seems like the day seems to be forever? Is that okay?
It could.
Okay.
Right. It depends on what you want to take out of the time.
Okay.
But as we get older, I think time flies because there's so much going on, so many activities that are going on in life that we are constantly moving, constantly filling the time. There's no downtime besides, maybe getting some sleep right at night. But if you got a family and kids and, you've got to take care of the kids, or if you got pets, you got to take care of your pet. And so I just think that it just moves quickly. Whereas when I was a child, right, or when we're all children, that we don't have those responsibilities. We're just absorbing everything that we're going through.
So that gives you time enough to slow it down in the absorption of that.
Yep.
Well, that's kind of interesting because I saw something that sort of brought that, and I think it indicated, it says, the reason why it happens is that we become progressively desensitized by our surroundings.
Yeah, that's true too.
I never thought about that.
Yeah.
So, we see so many things going on, so much information. We don't even stop to absorb that information. It just passes by and we glance at it, we see it, we're exposed to it, we become desensitized to that.
That's true.
And I thought as we're, looking at this and talking about it, it seems that makes sense. And it's like, so one moment it's like someone just got married.
Yeah.
And you turn around and you think, well, that just happened. And then you turn around and you realize that was a year ago.
Yeah.
And you were like, I thought that just happened. That was a
memory that I thought it just happened.
So then talking about technology and the absorption of the brain as we get older, because of not really any new experiences, tend to sort of glaze us over. And we just see it all running together in one
run-on sentence. Wow! You don't have periods and exclamation points and question marks. It's like,
so maybe so we could slow it down potentially.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
by the absorption. I guess maybe that term where stop and smell the roses.
Oh, yeah, that's
another
phrase. Yeah,
but I mean that comes to mind. Yes. Because you stop and you look at this and you start to enjoy this, and the moment slows the time down.
Right.
Whereas you saw it and you pass on to something else.
Exactly.
And we do that.
Yeah.
I mean, one moment a story breaks and it was like you don't even have time to absorb that before something else
happens.
And before you got an email and it's old news.
It's old news.
Absolutely. And it's like it's flying by.
Yeah. I mean, and there's so we talk about that. You can switch up your routine to slow time, attend to the little things. Like you're saying, stop and smell the roses. The details matter. Figure out the details on that. And then be grateful for the consistency also.
Okay.
You can get greater control of the body, your emotion, your mind, because I think we had this episode, life gets better as we age as well.
Yes. And that kind of leads right into that, because you sort of control your perception of how you're looking at things.
That's right.
Okay.
So it's just, there's so many things that we can talk through with this.
Well, I found something I wanted to share this with you. I found that there was a study that was done back in 2019 whereby it said that the aging brain is a reason for the altered perception that we are experiencing.
Okay.
And it says of time, and it says that we were able to take in new information faster when we were younger
Okay.
than we are as we've gotten older,
Right.
because the brain tends to sort of not absorb the information as it did when it was younger and newer in a sense.
Right.
And that kind of goes back to an earlier statement that you made, as a younger person, you tend to have time to sort of absorb that information, whereas we've gotten older now, it's nothing new. It's kind of like, okay, yeah,
I got other things to do in my life, right? I got other things to do. You're gonna keep moving, yeah. But to your point, though, it also goes back to that, Brother Stan's, the toilet paper theory, right?
Okay.
So
yeah, you were saying.
yeah. So again, just imagine you have a toilet paper or paper towels, whatever it is, but think of it as when it's a full roll, right? Full roll. That's when you're young, okay? And then you tear off each square sheet. You can say that's a month. Right, it's a month, whatever it is. But as you're full, the full roll that you have when you're young, you can keep pulling off, but you'll still have a big roll, right? Manageable, sizable roll. But as you get older and older and older, the more squares you pull off, the smaller your roll becomes,
Wow.
right?
Okay.
And then once you get to the smaller rolls, it feels accelerated because every time you pull it off,
you're right. Yeah,
it gets more like now you notice. Right.
What a great analogy of that. And well, to lend to that, I wanted to say, and I'm sure you guys also know this, and I never thought about it from that perspective, but I always thought of the bathtub that's full of water.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's like, okay, the water you start to spigot the drain.
Yeah.
The tub, you don't notice that it's going down. It's just slowly going down. It's slowly going down. But then by the time it gets to the bottom, you notice that now it's moving faster.
Right.
But if you were looking at it from a scientific standpoint, it's moving at the same pace.
Exactly.
But it looks like that drain hole is going faster as the water level
less and less water.
Yeah.
Just like the toilet, less and less toilet paper or paper towels, whatever. It seems faster, but it isn't.
So now, this effect, in a sense, how do we slow it down? Do you have any ideas?
Switch up the routine. Like you're saying too, switch up the routine.
Okay.
Right. So if you are stuck in a routine, change it up for a little bit.
Okay.
Take a different way to work is one. Easy. Yeah. It might not be what everyone wants to do, right? Because people are very set in their ways.
Well, because you want to get to work fast.
You want to get to work fast. And like that. The other thing is that
Yeah.
Like I know it will take me X amount of time going this route. I don't know going this route.
Yeah.
Try it out.
Do that.
Just do it. See what happens, right? Okay. And then you can have two routes now that okay, this one takes me 30 minutes. This one takes me 32 minutes.
So it's sort of like an unfamiliar route.
Right. That's why people don't want to do things too, right? Is they're unfamiliar with the outcomes.
Okay.
So change it up. Do something different in your life. Small things.
I saw
learn something new, right?
New.
Like you're saying,
absolutely.
You got to learn. That's what slows down is, hey, I've got to put this puzzle together and figure this out.
And then that takes a little bit out of the regular routine of the day. Okay.
Exactly.
I saw one which said something about don't watch too much TV.
Oh, okay.
And I didn't really think too much about it, but I thought, when we started watching television, we started watching sort of in a routine. We got a program that we watch right there. And then we know that program set of maps out the time of the day. And it seems like, okay, the day is coming down to an end. Yeah. And so our perception saying, okay, well, the day is ending because we're watching this right here. And I tried that little bit on the nightly news. Okay. And it's like, typically, it's like, okay, well, I'm not watching news all day. I'm not looking at certain things. Yeah. But then, okay, I'm going to look at the nightly news. And I thought, okay, I'm going to stop. Yeah. Just for a few nights, I'm going to do something different. And then I realized that the time literally kind of slowed down a little bit for me. And I was doing something different. And so I thought, okay. And so I can understand that statement, don't watch too much television. Right. Because you start to get fixated on that. And before you realize that time is flying, you look at your watch or you look at the clock and you realize that, oh my gosh, it's done, late. Yeah. It's done. The day's over.
Interesting.
Anyways, I think we're sort of going to come down to the end of this. You got anything else that you want to add in here?
I think that's kind of what we went through with time goes faster, as we get older.
Look how fast this time went by. Well, we were
we're in a
having,
routine
we
here.
were having, I know,
We need to break
we
it
need to
up.
break that up.
We need to do something different during our segments.
And tell,
We'll get that.
and let's share with you what we're going to close on. We're going to look for us on
Oh, we're going to be social media. So that would be, let's see, Facebook,
Instagram.
Thank you, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube,
Yes.
and
I believe you hit
Facebook.
all of it.
No, I said
you said
Facebook.
Facebook. So
Oh,
you
man.
did. So there
I
you
think I
go.
got them all.
You did.
Cool.
So anyway, let's see you
We'll
next
see you
time.
soon. Bye. Thanks.